I wasn't gonna cry through this, but I already feel it coming. So, my clean date is 9/1/19. I come from a long history of addicts and alcoholics. I lost my father at a very young age due to the disease, heroin overdose. I lost my brother as well to a heroin overdose at the age of 15. I was in and out of foster homes, bounced around to families, high schools to high schools. I got kicked out. My first use was when I was 9, and I drank and it made me sick, and I did not like the effects of the way that made me feel. It wasn't until I was 15 years old and I discovered the combination of methamphetamines and alcohol. That was a chase that I didn't understand it then, but it's like that phenomenon of craving that develops, that thinking, like the obsession of the mind really had taken, I seeked that in everything I did. I partied hard on the weekdays and partied even harder on the weekends. And I got, like I said before, I was bounced around from home to home by choices I made. At the age of 17, I was running with a bad crowd, and it was a bad drug deal that went bad, severely bad. And I ended up doing 5 years in prison. I got out when I was 21, and I thought I had the world figured out, right? Like in my mind, I was like, I'm not gonna use like that anymore. I got this. I'm not gonna, I'm just only gonna use on the weekends. And I managed to somewhat control my use under the supervision of DOC. And I was in that same year, I met my kids' father, had two beautiful kids, and I met my kids' father. He was also in his disease when I met him. And I tried to move like geographical locations. I went to Alaska, had my second child out in Alaska, and I got into a really bad car accident, and I was prescribed Oxycontin. And once the script ran out and there was nothing left, I turned to heroin. And I had met my God at that point, like everything, any type of integrity, any moral dignity that I ever had was gone. And I traded my kids, I traded my career, I traded the life that I never even knew I wanted for my disease. I never fully understood why things happen the way they do, but I do now. So I hit my bottom for the last time in prison, this last time. I hit my bottom, and I knew I wanted something different. I just didn't know how to get it. So this last go around, I was tired of running. I was tired of running from me, first and foremost. I wanted my kids back. I didn't want to fucking use anymore. And I just wanted a life. I just wanted a life without drugs and alcohol. And I wanted to break that fucking chain. And I didn't know how. So I took everything I could in prison, got myself into the TC program, therapeutic community. And I took what they had to offer me. And I left the rest behind. But it wasn't until I got out, like, things really changed for me. Like, when you get released from prison, the shit changes once you hit those gates. Life happens, and you get lifey, right? Life happens. And I was scared. Like I said before, I was scared. I wanted my kids back. I didn't know how to get it. So I got a sponsor, I got a home group, I got a service position, and I worked the steps. And so step one, getting to the first step, we admitted that we were powerless over addiction and our lives became unmanageable. Really wasn't fucking a big clue for me, like that I wasn't, like, I knew my life was unmanageable. Every time I managed my own life, I would end up in prison. Came to believe in a power greater than myself can restore me in sanity. Like, I really thought that was a skeptical one for me. I didn't think anything could restore me to sanity, to be completely honest. But I had to believe in it, because I no longer believed in myself. Step 3, made a decision to turn my will and my life over the care of God as I understood him. And that was my understanding of my higher power, which I didn't have much of. And step 3 really helped, it really changed my life. That, turning my will over to him and asking what he wants me to do and guiding me and directing me of my thinking, like that was it for me. That was my block. He's been my protector from this step forward. Step 4, an ugly step. It was an ugly step. I got to know who I was. I got to see the wreckage of the past. I got to work through a lot of fears, resentments, my sex inventory. I got to see who the fuck I was. Step 5, 6, and 7, man, those were game changers for me. I got to put it all out there, and I no longer had to be that person I was anymore. Step 8, 9. Now those are some very powerful steps. I was able to amend some wrongs that I did, make some amends in my family, in my friends, and that really, that's when I really started experiencing those promises that it talks about in the book. I got those promises that, was beyond like your wildest dreams. Like I hate to like go backwards, and I know we have to stick to a format when we speak, but I'm telling you, like when I first came to this program, I didn't believe any of this shit, right? The amount of hope that I got was looking at everybody's faces in these rooms and how happy, joyous, and free they were. And I was like, this has got to be a setup. And I that kept me staying though. But I stayed because I wanted that. I wanted a different life for myself, and I just thank you for that. Step 10, 11, 12, maintenance. Really, like it was, I was able to do a personal inventory, and I corrected my wrongs as I go, right? And then like I sought through prayer and meditation, improved my conscious contact with God as I understood him. I have a relationship with my higher power today. The 3rd step, I turned my will over. The 11th step, I asked for it back to do his will. And it's been a very powerful experience, all in this in one. The 12th step, having a spiritual awakening, and the result of these steps, and the result of this work. And I had to practice this in all of my affairs, all of them. My home life, my work life, in this rooms, with people I don't like, like I had some spiritual principles to live by today. And today, like I have a sponsor who has a sponsor who has a sponsor that's working the steps. I have sponsees that have sponsees that are working the steps. And that's the whole, and the most beautiful thing about this experience is walking into this fellowship of Heroin Anonymous and finding that singleness of purpose. And I'm able to share my experience, strength, and hope with people that are still suffering. And that, for the longest time, like I felt like I had no purpose in life. And today I'm home and free. And I really know what freedom is. And if anybody in here is in this room that knows what lockup is and being in prison, which all of us do, we can be locked up right now and still have these spiritual principles, and we'd still be free. And that's the beautiful thing about this. And God has opened up many doors in my life today that I never thought I'd have happen, ever. I restored my relationship with my family. I was able to amend them. My godmom freaking gives me the keys to her house, like she trusts me. I've met this the man of my life, but the love of my life in these rooms. You know, I have my family sitting back there supporting me. It's just a beautiful feeling. And I'm telling you, I definitely employ each and every one of you that do not have a sponsor, that does not have a home group or a service position, and is not working any type of program, to work these steps. It'll change your fucking life. If you can change, if I can change, if I can do it, a hopeless dope fiend like me, anybody else can. And I hope I don't butcher this, but I really wanted to read something out of the big book. I'm still being nervous.
Doing great.
Page 164, Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we only know a little. God will continuously disclose more to you as to come. Ask for him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order, but obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of the past. Give freely what you can find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I got.